Today I'm going to be making Skittles. This is something even better than the fruity candy. It's a tabletop game that uses a spinning top to knock over small pins. It's been around for a while, and there are lots of variations in the board layout, number of pins, and other details, so my design is sort of a conglomeration of different elements I liked. The first thing to do is to make the spinning top. Pretty straightforward here. I'll draw a 2-inch circle on an oak scrap and drill a 3/8 inch hole in the center. Then I'll cut it out on the scroll saw and sand it into something that mostly meets the legal requirements to be called a circle. From a 3/8 inch dowel, I can cut a piece and then sort of crimp around it with pliers to give it grooves. Now when I glue the two together, there's a place for some of that glue to remain inside instead of just being pushed out by the tight squeeze. Then I'll grab a pencil sharpener to bring one end to a dull point. The top needs a pull string, and I'll make a small handle for one end to make it easier to hold. I put together two tops, one with the weight higher and one lower. I'll see how they compare. Before constructing the board, I want to do some experimenting to figure out the best way to make the launch pad section that will be part of the framework. To easily keep the top aligned vertically, a shallow groove is useful. A slot coming in from the upper edge makes it much easier to set up the wound top. Now for the board, the top will have to navigate. I'm using 3/4 inch pine for this. I'll roughly break it down with a jigsaw, and then cut all the pieces to their final lengths on the table saw. I'm going to use dados to hold the divider pieces in place. A flat top saw blade leaves a nice smooth dado without ridges to clean up. This table saw doesn't take a dado stack, so I'm just cutting them pass by pass and making tiny adjustments until it's a good fit. On the end where the top is spun from, I'll make the opening to hold it. First, I'll route a vertical line. This will keep the top in an upright position. Then I'll cut a rectangle, which will allow the top to be firmly held against the board. It was around this time that I started thinking the whole thing was going to be too bulky. So I'm sending everything through the table saw to take off a bit of height. And yeah, in hindsight I could have gotten away with using 1x4s instead of 1x6s, but here we are. Okay, back to business. To finish up this piece, I'll cut a slot in from the top edge so the string can slide in. Then the edges can be sanded smooth. Next, I need some doorways to connect the different compartments. My design has 2 door sizes, which I'll make router templates for with some 1/4 inch plywood. Once those are done, I can just trace them where I want them and cut out most of the material with a jigsaw. Then, with a template stuck onto the piece, I'll zip around with a flush trim bit to make a perfect door shape. And I'll finish them off with a small roundover on each side. Now for some assembly. A bit of glue and clamping, and everything falls into place. You could come up with any arrangement of rooms and doors you wanted, in all sorts of fun shapes and sizes. This whole frame will sit on a base of 1/2 inch plywood. I'll cut it to size, giving myself a little extra. Glue seemed like a messy option, so I'm using screws. First I'll drill countersunk holes, and then drive in the screws all the way around. Then I'll take off the overhang with a flush trim bit. The satisfaction never gets old. After that, it's time to sand, making sure I get all the sharp edges. That's about it for the board. Now the last thing to make is a set of pins for the top to bowl over. Staying true to the philosophy of keep it simple, I just cut a 5/8 inch oak dowel into 12 pieces, and I'll round the edges slightly. You could get fancy and shape them to look like bowling pins, maybe on a lathe if you're rotationally inclined, but I'm perfectly happy with my boring cylinders. Now I'll bring everything to life with a coat of Danish oil. When that's dry, I can mark the pin positions on the board with a permanent marker. Nothing elaborate, just a little dot. I've also cut this piece to prop up the board. Either 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch. A slight downward slope is helpful to encourage the top to make its way to the other end. Otherwise, it might have a tendency to settle in one spot and not go anywhere. Now we can set up the pins and play the game. Pins in different areas are worth different amounts. For example, I'm saying the pins in this zone are 10 points each. These are 20, 50, and the last room is 100 points for that pin. To play, wind the string onto the top, place it in the slot, and let her rip. It'll go all over the place, hopefully knocking down a bunch of pins in the process. When it comes to a stop, count up the points for the pins you've toppled. You could play to a set number of points, or a certain number of turns. You can play with as many people as you want, or make it a solitaire game. I found that the top heavy top has a much more erratic spin. It ricochets all over the board very fast. The bottom heavy top spins for much longer, but isn't nearly as action-packed. I've made quite a few wood games and puzzles, but this one might be my new favorite. It really is a delight to play. The buzz of the top and clattering of the pins is great. There are unexpected twists and turns every time since it's impossible to predict exactly where the top will go. You just always want to try one more time. And it's so exciting when you manage to make it all the way through the last door and get that 100-point pin. Have fun, and thanks for watching.